As per usual, the theme of Halloween can be an extensive one, ranging from the horrors of reality, to the horrors of fiction, to the horrors of having a horrid adaptation of one of your favorite series that somehow comes back and back and back like a zombie that refuses to die.
The horror of boredom.
So what better apt metaphor for that than the Resident Evil Paul W.S. Anderson film series? So like I mentioned, each movie finds a way, a new creative way to get worse and worse than the last one. Apocalypse was the film that pretty much introduced God Sue Alice, that pretty much undermined Jill's plot. Extinction was an absolute bore fest of a Mad Max ripoff film. And this... Okay, how does Afterlife manage to screw the pooch? Well, here's how we can easily sum this up. So, sometime after Mila Jovovich and Paul W. Sanderson finally tied the knot in 2009...
Congratulations, I'm proud of you.
Yes, they're married by the time that this movie came out. Paul must have seen somebody playing Resident Evil 5 and decided, hey, I want to make a Resident Evil 5 movie, but I want to make it just vague enough so that it'll confuse anyone who's a fan of the movies but not a fan of the games, and will only really raise the eyebrows of an already pissed off Resident Evil game fan. Oh boy. So, right, as you'll recall in the last movie, Alice said that she's going to be bringing a few friends. So, let's see how that carries out with this film, shall we? Start before, again, the blood red Screen Gems logo. Thank you so much for this, Sony. In 3, 2, 1... click. You know, even when they make money, what is it with Sony just botching the job with franchises?
Like I said earlier, I blame the audience. They're the ones turning up for it in spite of them saying they don't like it.
Well, okay. Let's be fair, these movies aren't exactly made on the biggest budget, so even without that, they were kind of set to pretty much be
So
hits.
that begs the question, Job. We seems to be a similar condition and are both sub-products of Sony. Do you think, it's a worse dragging all of these, or just one Princess franchise?
Oh, I mean, I guess this at least had the decency to finally sputter out and die, whereas Swan Princess is still going. Like, I think the insulting thing about these movies... Why do I get the feeling this was meant to be watched in 3D at some point?
Actually, yes. I think, if I recall correctly, the logos actually proudly boast Afterlife 3D.
This would be where I would make you saw Inception Paul joke, but this was the same year, so he didn't have time for that. So.
And look, guys,
this released in 2010.
We're out of the desert, thank God.
Yay!
Now we're in Japan.
Watching these movies is like going to the dentist. It's gonna be painful, but you have to get it over with. So.
Like, again...
You don't, you just not go.
I will say this, though. These movies must have made a blood pact with the devil, because the minute they tried again with a reboot, Welcome to Raccoon City, that movie bombed like nothing else. So, again, I wonder, what was the magic of these movies that somehow saw them as consistent box office successes? Well, aside from
one second. I think that was the slowest camera pan I've ever seen.
I know, right?
Joe, but remember, the Twilight movies made bajillion bucks. I mean,
at least with Twilight,
it's inexplainable.
Well, okay, the Twilight phenomenon is easy. A bunch of horny teen girls and horny middle-aged women brought their dates to movies, thus boosting the ticket sales and whatnot, plus people who just watched those movies because of how insanely stupid and entertaining they could be.
It's interesting because I actually did have in one of the many times me and Vanessa went to see those movies in theaters, I actually had a guy who was once sitting next to me saying, "Oh, she dragged you here to what?" And I was, "You kidding? No, I'm here for this. I want to have a ball."
Also, I love that credit title, based on Capcom's video game Resident Evil.
No, it's not. You wish.
Also, which video game? Shouldn't you say video game series? Jesus.
Also, I blinked and I noticed in the credits Kim Coates is in this movie for some reason.
Not only that, we've also got Wentworth Miller in this one.
Yeah.
Wentworth Miller,
It
who
actually-
was
sorry.
at the time best known for being in the Prison Break series, and trust me, that'll come back in quite a ways when we see his role in this. He will later go on to play characters like Captain Cold in the Flash series, so good to see he went on to better things.
And there's the outbreak up into to Tokyo, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, give him credit, at least this movie starts with zombies.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Sure, it actually gets better. Like the story has a happy ending because I told him, "Look, here's what you do. Do what I do. Watch this as a comedy. Suddenly, it becomes a lot better." And the guy ended up agreeing with me.
I mean, anything to save one from boredom or just absolute cringe at those things. Oh no, the zombies are blackening out Japan! Ah?
Okay.
Yes,
I've only
written in-
seen 3 of the games in their entirety, and I wish I was having as much fun.
Which ones, if I may ask?
3, 4, Village.
Ah, nice.
I'm guessing they were the remix rather than the original PS1 games.
For 4, remake specifically.
Oh, so you've seen the original 3. Very nice.
Yes.
How's that voice acting?
Something.
Uh-huh.
Whoa!
4 years later.
I mean, we're
This
still on
movie
the-
really likes the pans.
I
doesn't
know,
it?
right? And zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. At least we're out still on the desert. There's that.
We're just in zombified Japan.
Get it? The series was made in Japan and that roots in a Japanese movie.
Hey, Biohazard! That's the Japanese title of Resident Evil!
It's so clever, guys. Oh no, not the Shibuya building. I guess Neko did not have much of a life in this. And I know, anti-life, call it whatever you want. Ow.
Oh no, he was flashed!
He died of flashing. Oh!
They didn't subtitle this part.
We just
Meanwhile,
admitted at the beginning speaking
underground-
Japanese. We're good to go. Again
like,
with this shit. Enough. Umbrella apparently subcontracted the fucking mole man from the Marvel Universe to do their labs.
It's like Balan Wonderworld, Shiro. They just forgot.
Oh, trust me, continuity
Whoa,
problems
whoa.
are a dime a dozen
What
in this film
happening?
series.
Why does
Aren't
this
they
film
speaking
need
a fictional language in Balan?
No, they...
Well,
Why
yeah,
does
but
this film need
yeah,
six
remember, so every time they
producers?
use it, they have subtitles, but then the ending shows up and for
Oh
whatever
yeah,
reason,
you're
there's-
right.
Yes, Libs.
Why did this film need 6 producers?
I have no idea.
Because Dwebs, only one producer cannot make a movie this bad alone. It takes
Speaking of
6
which,
with concentrated effort.
Speaking of which, budget 60 million, recouping 300.2. So yes, not only, despite the higher budget, this made even more money than the previous one.
And that's why they keep making them, because they make
Yeah,
money.
I guess it's because of that.
From what I can...
Yeah, it's
go-
like,
And yeah,
like I said earlier.
here's the new actor for Wesker. I think it's
Sean
Sean Roberts,
Roberts.
which
Here-
is much better.
Hey, remember him?
For
He
once,
was...
he stands up from the chair. That's a plus.
Hey, remember him? He was an X-Men. He played Rogue's boyfriend who she put in a coma.
Wow.
How about this? Dwebs? Here's a riddle for you. How many producers does it take to make a shitty video game movie?
That sounds like
I
a
don't know,
joke.
how many?
Oh no, his head exploded. You know what that means.
Let me see. Sean Roberts. He was also in Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Lightning Thief, although he was uncredited.
Like, okay, if I can give Sean Roberts credit, he really does take the role of Wesker seriously. God help him.
I mean, that's all you need to do.
Yeah. So basically, sure, I don't need. So what you're telling me, sure, is that I don't need to tell you that these movies have about as much in common with the games as Dragon Ball Evolution has in common with the anime.
Yeah, it's like I said, I wish I was having as much fun.
Hi. From which Frank Miller comic book did you came from?
Yes.
Mila Jovovich with 2
Yeah.
katanas.
Excuse me, that wasn't a yes or no question. Thank you.
Paul, I get it. Your wife who is so great she can even be a ninja despite
but are
having
you
no
sure,
training.
Teo? But Teo, are you sure that you are completely aware of how awesome she is?
I mean, I can trust you on word. You don't need to show me the wire jumps of doom on her part.
See,
How did you miss?
I hope, Shiro, you're truly understanding how awesome Mila Jovovich is.
I got an answer to that question. She moved.
Wow, and these people have the stormtrooper aim.
That's one of those jokes from a Monty Python sketch, and they're trying to shoot somebody,
you?
but they somehow missed.
Okay.
Also,
Repeat after me, Shiroi. Mila Jovovich is a goddess. Repeat.
Wait, hold on. That's a katana. Shouldn't that have come out the other end of his skull?
yeah, whatever.
Wait.
It's not Wakizashi.
Hold on. No? Well, I guess I'm gonna have to show you 2 more movies after this until you cave.
Let me out. Let me out.
Oh, the CGI.
Too bad, Shiroi. You had that one chance to get out of this, but now you have to go the long haul.
Also, Sean Roberts' first credited role was in a two-parter of the Goosebumps series, actually. So he must have been very young there.
Yeah, I remember Alice has those cool psychic powers and all that.
Yeah, except in this case they give you not particularly great CGI. I've seen worse, but I've seen better.
I think I'm a clone now.
There's always two of me just
hanging around.
Yeah.
Oh,
What?
more soldiers. Oh snap!
Oh no,
She's
I can't
dead.
believe Alice is dead again.
Again.
Doing this again.
Silly idiots. Alice can't die. She's played by Mila Jovovich.
Remember
what
the
fetish
clowns.
do you have?
See?
Or
There you
more
go.
appropriately, what fetishes you don't have? There's no more bullet-free.
Well, Shira, how about this? What would you say to a Chucky movie with 1 million clones of Jennifer Tilly?
I mean, the thing is, Jennifer Tilly's
Question.
Go on.
Jennifer Tilly or the doll?
The actual. Well, okay.
If you mean the actual Jennifer Tilly,
Tiffany.
yes.
Okay. Well, okay.
Tiffany? Yes.
Tiffany, because as of right now, Tiffany is in Jennifer's body. So.
Yes.
Also, now that's the more like the Wesker we know.
Okay. Let me rephrase that then. Whoever is inside Jennifer Tilly's body right now.
well.
Phrasing.
Teo, trust me, Teo. Jennifer loves jokes like that. She's
Yeah.
cool, I assure you.
Apparently
Yeah.
she wasn't enough to save Home on the Range.
Look. I've always joked that professional poker player that she just got into enough gambling debts that she had to do Home on the Range.
Teo, Judy, they had Judy freaking Dench in that movie. No one could have saved that shit.
But yeah, again, I appreciate now that Wesker is more on his game counterpart because he's just that petty evil, but because one subordinate slightly miscalculated, on the console, that he one-shots him.
Mm-hmm.
So
You
there's
didn't answer me though, Shirai.
God.
Because of the phrasing. I mean, I like both Jennifer and Mika, so yeah.
Also, I don't know about you guys, but something tells me Paul W. Sanderson liked The Matrix.
Well, okay. To be fair, you could tell the makers of Resident Evil liked The Matrix by the time of Resident Evil 5 as well, with how they pretty much made Wesker out to be Neo.
More into an aesthetic just for one character. In this entire first scene is very, very similar to the bank heist at the end of the first movie.
That said, kind of late, guys, seeing as how I think the Matrix wonder had kind of worn off by 2010.
Yeah, I mean, this was understandable back in the early 2000s, but this is 2010. I mean, I get that there was Inception. But Inception worked differently, though. Go
Well,
on.
As Doctor Doom said to Wesker during Maximilian's epic wreck battles of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, The Matrix went on to style 20 years ago.
Let me put it like this. By the time of 2010, I think it was more a sport to make fun of the Matrix than it was to adore
Yeah.
it.
If anything,
Yeah.
again, Wesker's aesthetic was, because he was too much of a tryhard,
Especially remember because at the time the Wachowskis' reputation as filmmakers had already gone pretty much down the tubes. I know that you guys like Speed Racer, but audiences in general didn't care for
once
it.
again, I will
Oh,
need
yeah.
to see it again.
Like, I mean, I've come around on Speed Racer, but no, back when it first came out, it was not beloved.
I swear I saw the movie, but I just cannot remember.
So anyway, so there you go, guys. The clone army is dead. Wesker blew them to hell.
Not to mention, right after 2 years after this, they made the abomination that is Cloud Atlas.
With
So-
20% more yellow face. Thank you.
Oh wait, never mind. There's some left.
Yeah, I think it was a case of one clone decided to blow herself up after she died, but Wesker just came out with just a scratch.
Oh yeah. I feel like there should still be more clones given what we saw at the end of the last one, but maybe they're hiding somewhere.
Okay, let me check who the composer is this time around.
Tom and Andy.
Okay, somebody
Come on.
really liked the blah sound effect from Inception and
The
tried to
hell
make a
is this
soundtrack
guy?
around that.
Yeah, that's a thing, Joe. I would make that joke too, Joe. But like I said, this came out in the same year as Inception, so there was no time for that.
Wait.
Uh-oh. Self-destruct sequence, of course.
Oh, never mind. Now there go the rest of the clone army. Pretty much
with an
destroyed.
implosion, not even an
In fact, let me-
explosion.
What the hell kind of explosion is that? That looks
Actually,
like
it's an implosion.
In fact, let me see. Is Lana even doing anything after Matrix 4? Let me
Anyway,
see.
this Tom and Andy is a duo composed by two people, Thomas Haju and Andy Milburn. Let me see what they did.
So, there you go, guys. The clone army that we were building up to in the last zone dealt with in 15 minutes of the starting of the next zone.
But I
Weird.
thought you guys said you didn't want a bunch of clones of Mila Jovovich.
But you forgot one's knocking up a board. Anyway, this composer will compose for stuff like 47 meters down, the Aristocrats.
Oh, snap. So what did that needle do?
I mean, Mila should be, Alice should be immune to the T virus at this point, shouldn't she?
So this is the original Alice. As for what that injection did, you'll see.
No, Lana has got nothing going on right now. Oh, Lily. Lily's apparently got a TV show going on right now.
Basically, that was supposed to essentially cure the T-virus within her, which has effectively taken all of her powers away. And yes, the actual cells are T-shaped in there. No, that is not how it worked in the games.
And also, I
I guess
guess
this was to try and counteract the arguments that she was.
Yeah, I guess this is the makers trying to reset a bit the character of Alice and trying to make her more badass without having to rely on excessive strength.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have several, but go on.
We're nearly 17 minutes in, and all I'm seeing is people beating the crap out of each other. Where's the story?
Well,
That's what happened last movie.
Well, you see, the story here is that Alice came to kill Wesker, pretty much killed everyone but Wesker. Wesker got away, blew up the clone army, and now he has stripped the original of her powers. But don't worry, Alice rigged the ship to crash.
Watch out, you're gonna crash!
Ah!
Slow. Why?
That looks so
meantime-
ridiculous.
I have to question why.
And yeah, I just looked it up. Lily directed worked on free TV episodes of stuff, but aside from that, she hasn't done anything. And Lana hasn't done anything since Matrix 4.
Why did we hear that freeze frame?
So, there you go. That's Wesker taken care of.
And I guess also Alice as well, because she's human again, so she cannot survive that crash.
Yeah, remember,
right?
her speed, power, accelerated
talking
healing,
about?
all those are gone, so now she is completely
fine.
fine.
No pain at all. You just
Paul,
get back up.
Okay, she looks a bit bruised, but still.
How she survived that but Wesker didn't is beyond me.
When Arnold Schwarzenegger jumping off a plane in command that was more believable, you got an issue.
And there we go. Wesker's taken care of, so now,
6
months
later.
later.
So that was the prologue, I
Yes.
guess.
Just to set up to remove away the equation of the army of Alice's and Wesker,
Oh.
which we set up from the previous movie.
Hold on, guys. It looks, like
Brilliant.
it looks like The Shining is about to start.
I know, right?
Basically, yeah,
This
remember?
looks like that bit in Canada that all films.
Hey,
show.
guys.
Yeah, we were supposed to go in Alaska in the last movie.
And conveniently, Alaska is just fine. Like, I don't know why Alaska is immune to the T virus that supposedly was destroying the whole Earth.
I guess because it's an island separated by sea.
Pedro, Alaska is not an island.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Alaska's
never mind.
connected to
I'm
Canada, which is connected
I'm
to
mistaken.
the
Sorry.
United States.
Sorry, never mind. I'm mistaking for something else.
Also,
Maybe Greenland.
also, Alice, who are you leaving this message for?
Whoever can finds it, I guess.
It's an excuse for exposition.
Will they
That too.
tell us?
It's Captain's log.
Alright,
The whole.
Yeah, the whole thing.
For the,
Apparently,
it's for the same reason that the main character in Avatar keeps recording those vlogs in the first movie.
apparently, there was a plan initially to put Leon S. Kennedy in the movie, and they were thinking of getting Jensen Ackles from Supernatural to play him, but that didn't happen.
Okay, that actually would have been
show up
cool.
in the next movie, but I think he's played by someone else. So.
Okay, I won't lie. Jensen Ackles as Leon S. Kennedy, that actually would have been superb casting. Now, if they had actually used him well is another question, but...
I mean,
We
I
saw how
mean,
Lyndon
Super-
Ashby was completely wasted in the previous movie, so
I mean,
don't
this was
know.
only. I mean, this was only 2010. Jensen Ackles had like 10 years left of Supernatural.
Just that.
Amazing how Supernatural kept its quality for like 15 seasons. At least good enough for people to definitely hang
Okay,
in there.
there's other planes, yes.
What does that tag say on her shirt?
It's a
I can't read.
Cyrillic, it's Russian, I don't recognize that.
Yeah, I don't know Russian either.
My father would be able to.
Hello? Anyone who may have landed these perfectly intact planes?
Oh, like,
Ladies and
is
gentlemen,
this,
Alice is walking through this graveyard, which is a representation of how many people saw the Resident Evil reboot movie.
Also,
I don't know,
it's...
it feels to me like it's more, Hayao Miyazaki's, secret code for jerking out planes.
Also, it's funny you mentioned Leon S. Kennedy, because if you recall, well, okay, those who haven't seen the second movie wouldn't recall, but in the second movie, there's a newspaper clipping that claims that Leon S. Kennedy was Jill Valentine's partner, and that he is dead. Mind you, that same newspaper clipping has a paper clipping that actually reveals that Alice's real name is apparently Yanis Prospero, and that her family were looking for her after she disappeared. We guess we can assume they were in Raccoon City and dead, but hey,
But this is the helicopter that actually, ran off at the end of the previous movie, so I think the others should be around here somewhere.
yeah, Claire, Kmart, everyone
And
else.
the other survivors. Remember, there you go. Only Claire and Kmart are the only important characters who survived from the previous movie, aside from
Where
Alice.
in the world is Claire?
Redfield.
Redfield. I really don't understand. Why did you introduce Lyndon Ashby and just as a character and just killed him in the same movie?
The sad part is that his style of directing probably would have fit in a Resident Evil 6 movie.
Oh,
Yes and
dear.
no, because the thing about Resident Evil 6 is that the craziness comes from the fact that there's a lot of shit going on at the same time. While instead, it seems that Paul W.S. Anderson, for these movies, he loves to decompress and stretch just a single idea, to its maximum length.
I mean, I guess I should be thankful that he still keeps it to 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's the surprising thing. And yet, despite this, most of his movies are just roughly 90 minutes. You would expect for the type of weird shit that's happening, it will be 2 hours, but no.
Now, to give this movie credit, this one actually will have more of a plot than the third film. Like, it's like Tio said, honestly, the third film feels like it's a glorified prologue to this film, honestly.
The ground zeros to this Phantom Pain, I guess.
Yeah. And in the end, there will only be Alice.
That's it, Alice. You are the last of us. Oh wait, wrong series.
Avoosh!
Again with this shit, the silhouette running in front of the camera? Oh my god. This is the kind of shit the Scary Movie parodied.
I know, right?
And that was like in the mid-2000s.
And Paul's like, well, I'm not hearing anybody talk about how Miller's amazing, so I guess I have to continue making more movies.
It's like that guy who made a very bad rap about how cool his wife is. I forgot what he's called.
Rob Zombie?
No, I'm gonna check in the meantime.
If we say she's amazing, will you go away?
Also, where did
Apparently
you...
not Shiroi. It's like that bad it's like that episode of Fairly Odd Parents, where Timmy and Trixie are the only two people left on the planet. He has to compliment her every second, otherwise he grows angry or something.
You know, I have to wonder, were these movies just Paul and Milla's way of settling arguments? Like, whenever it seemed like they were about to fight, it's like, hey, honey, let's make a movie. Okay.
Oh! And who
Oh, you're not gonna say hello?
Who is it that has her hair constantly in front of her eyes so we can't recognize her?
I guess she's either Claire or Kmart.
Claire?
Yeah. And I recognize what's on her chest, too.
Yep. Like I mentioned, this movie feels like Paul saw Resident Evil 5 and thought, hey,
That's
I want to...
controlling parasite.
Yeah, hey, I want to...
not one of these in Resident Evil 5.
Problem. In order for that to be a thing, Los Plagos has to be a thing, because that's how the control parasite worked.
The parasite from 5 are an evolution of Las Plagas from 4, which in turn are sort of a sub-product of the mold of 8, which in turn was the thing that inspired the creator of Umbrella, and god, the lore is getting confusing.
But hey, guys, I mean, that's just like a spider module. It's not like he'll actually put Los Plagas in this movie. That would be dumb.
So, if you're telling me also complete with the setting of the previous one, that the rest of the world capitulated, I guess, you know, Lord Sadler's cult did not have much of a life in this continuity.
Maybe not. But guess what, guys? As a result of the mind control, Claire has amnesia!
Oh my god.
Even though we already did amnesia in the first Resident Evil movie, we're doing it again with the fourth one.
Well, if these movies keep going on for so long, it was only a matter of time until they started to reuse plot elements.
The main reason for why her mind is controlled is, of course, to help the plot go, because if Claire did have her memories back, the plot would go a much different way. That needed a fade to black.
Apparently. Yeah.
Okay, I guess we're off now. But remember now, the plot is to find Arcadia, the supposed safe haven for the human race.
Then we guess it's not safe at the end of the movie.
You'll have to wait and see. Oh, goody! So it's off to Canada we go.
Hey.
if it's anything like the special gas that the manor in the first movie sprayed you with, they should be temporary and plot convenient.
As for your question, Shiroi, yes, but you have to say she's amazing in a way that is sincere and that Paul believes it. You have to be sincere about it. Can you do that?
I'm not making any promises.
And Paul's like, well, then neither am I.
Yeah,
So
you
now-
better do it, or else Paul will go to Constantine and tell them to do another Fantastic Four movie.
So now the movie takes us to California.
No.
Yes.
Why?
Because
fine, I'll just-
because I guess
We're going to California.
because
I
I guess
guess
Paul
everyone
really
else
wanted to
drives
take a
or something?
vacation to Los Angeles.
Anyway, if
California's nice, actually. I'm just wondering why.
Yeah, it feels so random jumping location. We established in the previous movie that apparently Alaska was the end goal, but apparently no now. We need to hop from place to place.
Okay.
Been to
Yeah.
Japan, been to Alaska, now California, but go on, Pedro.
You know, Joe, but you just made a wizard joke. I can only imagine, like, with the chaos that must ensue behind the scenes of these movies, it would be really funny if Mila Jovovich did, like, while talking to Paul, like, he touched my breast, and they're like, but he's your husband.
Oh my God,
Oh,
guys!
that's right.
Oh my God,
Hollywood
guys!
is in
Hollywood's on
ruins.
fire, even more than usual. Jesus, the strike was
On the
more.
nose, Marshall,
Jesus, the strike was more devastating than I thought.
Yeah, and you can tell that this is an early 2010s movie because back in these days, the action blockbuster had such a boring visual style.
So basically, Jovi, you're saying that the film executives got so crazy at not being able to make any movies that they trashed Hollywood?
Yes. Oh, hey,
Why
Union
not?
Bank.
Good to know that product placement still exists. Anyway,
Even
Yes, wow. SAG-AFTRA had such a pull in the strike, they formed their own bank.
Look, guys, not even the apocalypse can stop product placement.
Anyway, yeah, it's as showcased by Final Fantasy Beasts Within.
Yeah, Jover, in the second Doctor Who live-action movie, in spite of the fact that London was in ruins, we still had plenty of posters for Sugar Puffs.
Huh.
Anyway, I found in the meantime the song I was talking about is by a guy called Chance the Rapper, and it's literally called "I Love My Wife," which was released on July in 2019.
Was that rap good?
No, people meme the shit out of it. It's one of the riffs from Silva Gunner.
A rap called "I Love My Wife." Yeah, that
Yes,
fits with Paul. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before, Pedro.
Okay.
Well, once
I
again, the
also-
effects with the zombies, I guess, look good.
You know, too, I get the
We
feeling.
try to differentiate a bit more, but man. Go on, sorry, Pedro, yes.
I get the feeling too. Paul does the whole "I love you, wife," but he does it the opposite way of William Hurt.
Probably.
So he does it with ultra passion.
Yes.
Hey, Kim Coates.
What is King Coates doing in this?
Okay,
Check what he was doing around the time.
you're more familiar with him than me, so is he like a big hotshot
I
actor?
mean, it's a bit at least a bit above this movie. Let me see what I've done about. In 2010, he was also in Blood, A Butcher's Tale, Sinners and Saints, and A Little Help. I don't know much about those movies, so I cannot tell.
He looks like
You know, I
he's
just
he looks like he's cosplaying as Tony Stark from the MCU.
You know, I think I just realized. Watching these movies is the equivalent of me and Vanessa going on a double date with him and Mila.
Aww.
Like where Paul is constantly talking about how amazing his wife is, and Mila's constantly talking about how amazing Paul is, and I'm just sitting there. Oh my god, I want to shove my foot right up your ass. Let's just shut up. Like,
Alright, so I'm guessing the goal is for these survivors to actually either make themselves noticed by by Alice, or at least to clean a bit the area.
They're trying to make a good
land.
landing for them on the roof.
You know, this sequence was a bit more humoristic and actually, you know, more engaging in the Rescuers Down Under. Just saying.
Oh no!
Just
Of course we do the
saying.
fake out. Of course.
Yeah.
You almost killed Kim Coates. How dare you?
How dare you?
Oh, what's this?
Ow.
Of course.
Did you at least kill some
Always
zombies with
look
that point?
on the bright side of life.
Oh no! Oh no!
That plane is apparently
You have to sing
heavy.
it, didn't you?
But Webs, life's a piece of shit when you look at it.
I believe I can fly.
That's the equivalent of a slam dunk.
Okay,
Tio,
guys-
it's now a
Are you
bad time
quite
for me
sure
to.
Alice is?
It's now
Are
a
you
bad
quite sure Alice is the only overpowered person here?
slam dunk. It's now a bad time for me to mention that character is supposed to be a basketball player.
Yeah, it figures. It's the classic case of, hey, you played basketball. Let's shoot a scene where you do something similar to basketball. Fuck me.
Oh, okay. To be fair, it's actually that he's a famous basketball player in story. He's not actually a basketball player actor.
It's still very dumb. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
As for who he is, he's played by Boris
Super
Frederick Cecil Thénate Ofwate Kadaj. He's a German actor and former model, best known for his roles as Kelby in the 2002 film Brown Sugar, and the sports courier agent Damon Carter on the Showtime drama series Soul Food.
The overall visual composition of the shot feels very cheap. It's like I'm watching Sharknado.
Not
About
just that. While there is a,
$60 million.
while it is less, you know, instead of having the yellow New Mexico filter, you know, from the previous movie, you can tell that there's a bit of desaturation. Not a lot, not Man of Steel level, but it's just a bit.
Uh-huh. Oh, and by the way, I'm not kidding about him being a famous basketball story. There's literally a billboard with his face on, like as seen here. Star power, yo.
Tag Heuer. I think that's how
I
you
think
say
they're
it
about to
anyway.
explain
Yep.
it, actually.
How
There he is,
convenient that the billboard just happens to be right across from this building, too. Hey, he's even got a basketball shirt on. And that's why he did a slam dunk on the plane, I
Just
guess.
in case the audience didn't get enough.
Like, I'm sorry. I feel like even Space Jam would be telling you to tone it down.
That says a lot, but I had to reserve what the specific example would be for the movie, because out of context it sounds very, very wrong.
Yeah. Oh? So it turns out Arcadia may not just be a town, but it's an
Something else.
actuality.
It's
A
Arcadia
ship.
Bay.
Oh, great! Now we're recycling plot threads from Half-Life. Good to know.
I mean, I guess to be fair at this point, Valve were busy not making Half-Life free, so...
This was 2010, so at least Left 4 Dead 2 and Portal 2 were, you know, if not being released, or at least around the corner.
That is
I
fair.
mean, think about it, Joe. It makes perfect sense. The ship Arcadia parking in Arcadia Bay. Supporting in
Genius.
Arcadia Bay.
So it's time to investigate the ship then.
Only problem is, there's a whole field of zombies waiting to chow down.
Ah, those shucks.
It's fine.
Maybe if we politely ask the zombies to let us through, they'll oblige.
Okay.
Like I said, plot convenience amnesia. Little by little, her memories will come back.
So we're starting to see what happened to the people who got rescued, like Kmart.
But yeah, why didn't you go with the others?
How convenient. Also,
No
someone
duh.
is still a Tom Peeper.
But who could be peering in on them at this moment?
I mean, that technology is Umbrella, so there's not too much of imagination.
But
Maybe
we
Hunk. Can Hunk shows up in these movies?
Heh.
Gondor calls for help. I don't know.
So yes, they're literally using a prison as their stronghold, go figure.
Typically the rooftop.
Yes, leave some lights for the zombies, they need them too.
I think it's more of a case where attracting them to that specific place.
I guess.
Hi.
Oh snap, they're burrowing. That can't be good.
No, not at all.
How they're suddenly smart enough to dig underneath? I don't know.
I love how
Just
bad.
shut up.
Yeah, again, there's this thing with zombie medias. Oh, is that rice? I hope it's rice. There's this inconsistency in zombie media about their actual strength and intelligence that flip-flops. Sometimes they're not able to actually, break your bones or hold you, enough. Sometimes they're able to literally rip your skin off without even having nails or something. Sometimes they can just, dig down, or sometimes they cannot even pass through a door.
Like,
It's
okay.
very inconsistent.
Like, look, if you want to have intelligent zombies, that's fine. But the thing is, zombies, by the nature of this universe, typically are not that smart. That's what made Nemesis a special boy in the second film. That's what was supposed to have made Isaac's Alice-powered zombie special. But now these zombies have learned, hey guys, maybe we should dig underneath to get the
Even
meal.
in general, the Tyrant class as a whole is supposed to be the top notch because it's the one that can think.
And yet, that got beaten out by lasers in the last film.
I don't know what to tell you. Truth be told, I don't even know how much of a bizarre thing the Ustanak will be in this movie continuity.
No, 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 no. Okay, here we go. We're about to meet him.
Meet whom?
You'll see. It's a man in prison, but not just any man.
Yeah, I think I know who he is.
Wait for him to say his name.
Wentworth Miller, that's the name of the actor.
Yep!
Yep!
This
That's
is Chris
Chris
Redfield.
Redfield.
Chris
Where's
Redfield.
his big bulging muscles?
Four movies in, we get finally Chris, and he looks like a dweeb.
Like, look, Chris Redfield is arguably the series' mascot, and it took until movie 4 to come. He is played by Wentworth Miller. Now, he's men in prison. Wentworth Miller was famous for the Prison Break series. In fact, when Miller first read the script, which involved Chris being in prison, he thought the association to Prison Break was a practical joke with his imprisonment, and his first line being, "I know a way out of here." So, yeah. Originally, believe it or not, Sean Roberts had actually auditioned for the role of Chris, but because Miller took the role, he ended up being cast as Wesker. Okay, weirdly enough, yeah, Chris was a member of the BSAA, which I guess can be considered a section of the army by the time of Resident Evil 5. So his backstory in this movie is that he got jumped by a prisoner and put in the cell, and because the people who are holed up here are morons, they think he's a psychotic killer and won't let him out of his cell, even though he does know a way out and could legit help them. Why do they not factor in possibly helping him, given the fact that, my dude, zombies, I doubt the guy would be working with them, because the people and the writers are morons. Like, okay, the thing is, if you're a games fan, you know that Chris is probably legit. And even if you're strictly a movie fan, like, I'm pretty sure you must know. Well, actually, no. If you're just strictly a movie fan, then you have no idea why this guy called Chris is suddenly treated with all this importance.
I think I can put this into perspective. Also, this looks more like the Arsenal from the Blood Rain movie instead.
Goody. Go on.
Did Uwe Boll took over?
Oh God.
Yeah.
I'll be honestly, Tio. If Uwe Boll took over, the action would be a lot worse.
And the practical effect more cheap. But let me put this into perspective, just to get you an idea why, for people that are fan of the games, this is atrocious. Imagine, hypothetically, if Final Fantasy VII got split into a 4-movie adaptation, and for the first 2, your main character is no one of the main characters, but just one random extra new member of the Avalanche team called Bob, who's just great at doing anything. You don't get to see most of the action happen off screen. By the time of the 3rd movie, off screen, Shinra is apparently one, and the planet has been devoid of life because of a Mako sucking most of the time. And by the time of the 4th one, out of nowhere, without any foreshadowing or previous encounters, Bob meets Cloud in prison in a random cell. That's how it feels like it.
Like, okay, here's the major issue with Afterlife. It is constantly stuck between being an homage to Resident Evil 5 and just being its own original random mess. Ergo, confusing both fans of the game series or fans of the movies, because fans of the game series don't really give a hoot because they dislike it at this point, whereas fans of the movies will go, wait, so this is referring to Resident Evil 5? And yes, there can be people who are fans of both, but again, if you have not played Resident Evil 5, you will likely be uber confused by all the stuff this movie throws in from there. It's insane. Again, like I said, each movie finds a new way.
Someone took a bad turn at Albuquerque.
Like I said, it's amazing how each movie finds a new way to be crap. Oh, hey, the Executioner. That's a boss from Resident...
I'm sorry, the Silent Hill movie set is actually the other way.
Now, believe it or not, that's a boss from Resident Evil 5. However, that's one of the Maginis. Ergo, a Los Plagos mook. Not the T-Virus.
In Africa, not even in America.
Jova, stop questioning my story and remark on how
it's
amazing
not
my
even-
waifu is.
And it's not even a Nemesis clone. It's more of a parallel to the guys with the burlap sack and the chainsaw in Resident Evil 4. Oh please, don't let David Cage take you over with a shower scene.
Well, you know, it has been a while since we've last seen Alice naked.
Paul,
Yeah, that is true.
Paul.
It's been half a movie, so
Where does she constantly get all these weapons anyway?
yes.
Lucifer,
The
you
sad,
wouldn't...
part, the sad part is that we can't call him a creep because, well, it's his wife, so he's in his right, I guess.
Just as long as David Cage isn't here, I think it's okay.
Dad? Okay, not really.
Yeah, no, that's an advanced form of Los Plagas that showed up in Resident Evil 5, which can only be a thing if Resident Evil 4 happens, so what the hell is even happening?
Reference?
Like, Paul, I get it, you must have really liked Resident Evil 5, but why this out of nowhere? Like, all you needed was maybe a line about how, oh, the zombies are evolving or something. Nope, don't even get that.
Apparently.
Kim Coates plays a dick in this movie.
Why does he look like a dodgy salesman?
What do you have to lose from trusting Chris? Like, what, do you think he's a double agent for the zombies or something?
That wasn't funny at all.
No, it was not. But wait, Chris recognizes Claire.
I mean, yeah.
Oh my-
She's his
To be
sister.
fair, I genuinely forgot, Drova, in which game Chris and Claire finally managed to get reunited after Code Veronica?
Code Veronica is the game where they actually reunite.
Well, I thought it was, after that. Where was the actual last game where they interacted afterward? Was that one of the Revelations?
No, actually, like, she's in Revelations too, but Chris isn't, like... Huh. I don't
Maybe
think...
one of the CGI movies, I think?
No, Chris
Because
isn't
those are in
in...
continuity with the games.
Okay. Maybe she's in Death Island. I haven't seen Death Island. Death Island seems to be the one that has, like, everyone...
I think she's in. I think they're in Vendetta, or was that Rebecca Chambers
No.
instead?
Yeah. That was Rebecca Chambers. The one CGI movie I haven't seen yet is Death Island, which is even bringing back Jill, so... Who knows, maybe she does interact with him, but yeah, I think after Code Veronica, we don't see the siblings really interact. I mean, granted, they're each off doing their own things, so...
I get it, but it's kind of a waste of potential, and again, it's not helped by the fact that 7 and 8 just decided to forget about, most of the stuff in the past.
Yeah, I get why people like 7 and 8, but... I do have my personal issue that I feel like those are kind of moving away from a lot of the cast that we know and
raises
love.
more questions than providing answers.
To be fair, Joe, I mean, do we really need to always use the exact same characters over and over? Can we try...
No, but I would like to know what happened to the subplot that were left hanging.
Especially since Chris is still there anyway.
Knock knock, do we have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior?
Yeah.
I'm kind of busy right now. Water.
Like, what?
Of course.
Oh yeah, that's gonna, pen them off.
The soundtrack picked up a bit. Oh, it's gone.
Did you learn from Lois Lane in BBS by chance?
What?
I mean, of course
I hope I don't get to see that movie.
Of course I'm gonna trust you with the gun. I'm the only one who's not a moron in this movie, aside from you, apparently.
Okay, props for actually scoring a headshot, but yeah, against a guy like that, it doesn't really do much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wait, Alice is normal now. Can she hold her breath for that long?
I love how the music was riding up and it literally stops the moment she jumps in. It's so stupid. I mean, check actually some of the other actors, like the girl who mentioned about being on the swimming team or whatever hell.
Crystal, I think, is her name.
Yeah, played by Casey Clark. Oh, I heard her already. Let's see. She has been doing stuff until 2020, but so far I'm not recognizing too much of her movie career. She was in a 2013 movie called I Spit on Your Grave Too.
Huh.
Okay.
What a creative title.
Okay, she was in Lake Placid 3, the same year of this movie. No, I don't recognize anything else in her career. She did stuff, it's just that they look like B-tier stuff.
So, this was the most high-profile film she was in.
Poor bastard. Again, if there's one thing that is kept also from the previous movies that I do appreciate, is actually scenes similar also to this, where the actions and the body movement had to speak everything because for one circumstance or another the characters do not speak.
Alright, and now your weapons will probably be useless since they're wet.
Nah, they'll be fine.
Soaked. That's the thing that frustrates me about Paul. There are actually great ideas on a cinematography level, but a lot of other, directors and writers squander for stating the obvious, for example. But they're so wasted because he keeps filming with just one hand.
Paul is kind of like a 1 step forward, 5 steps back kind of guy, it seems.
Like I said, I still stand what I said about last year.
I'm starting to think Go on.
Flaws and all, I still actually enjoy Event Horizon for what it is and what it inspired. But it's just that it's always frustrating with Paul. It's like for every good thing that you see about him, there are always stuff that drags it down.
It really
Yes,
makes you
Pedro?
wonder, how did he manage to make a good video game movie with Mortal Kombat and apparently
That's the thing, Joe. I get the feeling Paul W.S. Anderson suffered the John Lennon effect, where he met Milla, and ever since he met Milla, his world started revolving around her.
Wasn't one of the producers of a Mortal Kombat movie, if I recall correctly, the guy who made Food Fight?
Yes.
Maybe the good contribution was his idea. Probably no.
Good lord. And from what I hear, the Dead or Alive adaptation
Lawrence
was...
Kasanoff, there you go. Maybe it was his idea.
From what I also heard, his Dead or Alive adaptation was decent. Although that one apparently didn't make money.
I haven't seen it in a long time, to be honest. And the only thing that I remember was Pooney's review, where he mentions that the only reason why it's good is because it's pertinent to the source material. It's supposed to be fighting, for a fighting game, and there's a lot of fan service. So yeah, there's that. Although then she told me instead that the King of Fighters movie is also not that bad, but I have to rely on his word. He's more of an SNK fan than I am.
Mm-hmm.
It's an engine, Kim. Fuck's sake.
Like I say, it seems to be that the primary character of his performance in this is be a dick.
Oh. Kim Coates was the imposter among us the whole time.
He shot a guy. That's what he did.
Shooting people happens a lot in these movies, actually.
Although I had to question, again, it's similar to what they said, the constant thing that they said for franchises like Gears of War, the whole thing about, why would humanity, have traitors among them, when in a situation where it requires pivotal collaboration like this one.
Admittedly, Kim Coates is kind of just looking out for himself in this one, so I guess that's a bit more of an easier buy than, hey, somebody actually believes that the Locusts are really the good guys. Because, yeah, he's stealing the plane.
Wants to steal the plane for himself. Let me check who the other guy is played by. Norman Young, who plays Kim Young. Let me see. Oh, he also been director. Yeah, what did you think was gonna happen?
Actually, he makes it. Yes! Yes! What, were you channeling M. Bison from the animated series?
I
Yes!
guess. Oh shit.
Yes.
What is this music? Fuck off. Why the slow-mo? For an SMG, too. Like, it's not even a great gun, it's an SMG.
I know, right?
Okay, I'm sorry if what I'm about to say is really, potentially too cynical, but I have to say, compared to the previous movie, this really starts to feel like it was made by Uwe Boll instead. Like, sometimes the CGI and the green screen are worse, the desaturation is there too, and a lot of, because of also the story being decompressed like that, but there's also, again, all of these scenes where the character are just standing in one place and shooting like that, I get reminded of the House of the Dead movie so much, or also Alone in the Dark.
Cut. Yeah, you should have cut a bit because she looked awkward in the whole thing. Like, slow motion doesn't automatically make it epic, guys.
Also, no, that's not how it works. You will still have your bones turn to jelly because of that.
But Tio, water equals soft landing. Totally. Yes, Alice is somehow holding off an army of the dead. Totally a regular human being without her superpowers, guys.
Why did we never got like a Musou Dynasty Warrior-like game based around zombies instead, fighting zombies? They seem to be perfect for that kind of cannon fodder.
The closest thing I guess we got was...
Oh my...
Oh.
Bro. Wow, that explosion looked horrible too.
I don't get it. Bigger budget, so why does it look more fake than the previous ones?
I know, right? The budget is big, but it looks more cheap than the previous movie. What happened?
I just don't know.
And
No.
despite
They
that,
spent it in the wrong places, I guess.
and despite that, it made more money. How? Why did people want to see this?
So
Because
from...
Mila Jovovich?
I don't know.
How much of it is
And
hate?
Paul's
How much of it is hate watching?
And then
Nah.
Paul turns to you, Tay. Was like, "Are you implying that that's not a good enough reason?"
Okay, I'll be
You know
honest.
what, Paul? I dare you, and I spit on your wife's name.
I'll be honest, Ribs. I've
Oh, no.
never believed in the idea that hate watching can bring success to something, because there are countless movies where, if that were the case, those movies would have been big successes, but they weren't.
Like Gotti, for example. Like, oh my god, she used coins as bullets.
The money
Pretty
shot.
much a movie.
Yes. Okay, here's the dumb thing about this movie. Apparently, the coin shots do more damage than regular bullets, which, no, that
They
doesn't
are,
work.
they can damage, sure, but not as effectively as a bullet.
They're being fired by Mila Jovovich, and that makes them more powerful, Jova. That's
Nah.
all.
Of course.
Now, from what I've heard, despite these movies making money, the people in charge of making the, well, aside from Paul and Mila Jovovich, like, the overseeing studios weren't exactly proud of these movies. It seems like they were definitely, by the time of Final Chapter, definitely looking forward to rebooting it, seeing as how not too long after Final Chapter came out, a reboot was announced, essentially.
Question.
Yes.
You're done, Jova.
Go on.
I know, like, it's not the same for cinema releases because, you have to make the commitment to, actually go out to see them. But would hate watching making things successful not be applicable to streaming stuff? Because, you don't have to go anywhere.
Like, even with that, okay, maybe back when streaming was in its infancy, but, okay, to take a modern example, with Velma, yeah, I don't buy hate watching actually got that to where it is, because what I do buy is that what got that to being the most viewed animated show is the fact that HBO Max had pretty much axed everything else, and hey, it was tied to Scooby-Doo. I do not buy that people are going to buy an HBO subscription and go and watch that show, especially when we're in a new golden age of piracy where if people really hate something but still want to watch it, it is extremely easy to just pirate stuff these days. So, and again, if hate watching really did bring success, the Ghostbusters reboot would have been successful. Hell, that Charlie's Angels reboot would have been successful. They weren't, in that regard.
Also, this is not as epic as a shot as you think it is, Paul. Sorry.
But guys, Claire's actually the one fighting the Executioner instead of Alice, because Alice is knocked out. Can you believe it? Somebody's actually getting to do something other than Alice.
Yeah.
There, she's not a Mary Sue anymore. You happy?
No. Knowing the structure of these movies, Claire is gonna try to do something, She's gonna be in mortal danger, and it's Alice who saves her at the end.
How have you not tripped and fallen with how slippery that floor must be?
Well, she did it now. Fuck off. This is not epic, I'm sorry.
So, are we to the level of catching pneumonia?
Yeah, tell me you at least have a one-liner.
But uh-oh, he gets back up again.
Overtime.
But wait, here's Alice
There's
to
Alice.
save the day.
Here
Oh.
I come to save the day. See, if Alice wasn't there, Claire would have been decapitated. My god, the kill stealer to the very end.
And it's the money shot that takes out his head. What?
Paul!
Ow!
Paul!
So a bullet to the head, that
Stop
just
it.
knocks him out. But the money shot, no, that makes his head explode. What even
Get
is
some
this?
help.
Good lord.
I mean, this was 13 years ago. It's a bit like saying that.
Also, I just forgot about the fact that most of this movie took place in that stupid prison.
Oh my god, you're right. Again, Wentworth Miller at first thought that this was a joke about his prison break status.
Shall we see?
Boo!
Boo.
Why?
Sudden basketball player jump scare.
Joe, sorry, Teo, you know why. Why do you keep asking? You know the answer to that question.
The answer to every question is Mila Jovovich is great.
Exactly. That's the one great truth of the whole universe. Like we can doubt politicians, we can doubt companies, but we can never doubt the greatness of Mila Jovovich.
Like I said, in the end, there will be only Alice.
Don't tell me what to
Exactly.
do.
Okay?
That
Fucking
zombie
hell.
was just waiting for him, I guess.
Stop doing that.
Again,
rude.
I guess at least I should be glad that the black guys doesn't die first in these movies. Again, that's another thing. You can tell that between that, again, the scenes, being more calm without having the characters to speak every 5 seconds. There's an idea of Paul trying to not fall into the cliches that also were playing, especially around the time this movie was made, the industry.
I feel
But
like
it's so wasted.
He can't help himself.
I feel like Paul pulled a Jan de Bont where he made good movies, but past a certain point, he just threw it all away
It's
or
not even
lost his
that, Joe, but
mind.
Even this very movie that I consider very bad, there is something that I visualize, techniques that are actually pretty good in making a movie. All this tells me is that Paul needed someone to be restrained, but that was supposedly what happened in the previous movie with a different director, and he did jack shit.
And remember,
So-
Paul's the writer across all these movies, so it's not like executive mandates are forcing him to make these contradictions either. As far as we
Because
know,
at the get is Sony just dictating how much budget do you have, and that's it. Because this is like their B-tier division, if I recall correctly, so they do not have as much pressure.
what I do know is that by the final movie, that was when they started slashing the budget, since the final chapter only has a budget of 40 million, which is a step down from the 60 to 65 million that these last few movies would get. So, okay, we finally made it to Arcadia. It's a good thing the zombies can't swim like in that one manga.
Now that I think about it, isn't Senpai's A Boyfriend Perspective Expo basically the same thing Paul is doing with these movies? Now that I think about it.
I think Senpai has some restraint. He's a very nervous boy.
The message that we got.
President did have to encourage him to put on that exhibition, so...
Well, sure, I think part of that was just Prez loving to do it herself anyway.
Actually, that's 2,185, Chris. You fucking liar.
Jesus, can you not count?
What is this, Microsoft?
God. You know,
Remember,
the guys in Alone in the Dark couldn't count either, and oh boy!
Oh, look at that, it's an umbrella ship. Who would have guessed?
Well, actually, Teo, Shio just made a good point. Yeah, this is basically very much in the both mindsets of Microsoft. The whole, can't count thing, like Jova just said, and the fact that if it ain't broken, fix it still, which is basically what these movies do to the games.
So, yep, it turns out that the people were captured and Claire was sent essentially to go take down Alice because of that little beacon. But it was all, in reality, a trap to lure Alice here.
But by whom? Who is left at Umbrella to actually care about Alice?
That's a good
because
question.
Wesker is dead. Dr. Isaac is dead.
Birkin? Well,
disappeared.
Yeah. Seriously, we had a Birkin played by Jason Isaacs and you didn't bring him back for anything.
He's very expensive, Joe, don't you know?
His movies...
Also, around this time, he was busy playing Satan in Castlevania Lords of Shadow. So that.
Fortunately, I got to try Windows 11 on my brother's laptop before, so I know in advance that it's shit. I'm definitely not accepting the installation offer.
So it's as cursed as I thought it looked.
It's like I said, I had to accept it for work purposes, so I didn't have a choice.
Okay. If I'm going to be completely fair, it's not like it's a Windows Vista situation or anything like that.
No, it's just hideous.
It's just the look of it that's just not good.
Okay, here's another thing taken from Resident Evil 5. People are kept in capsules complete with profiles and everything.
And Kmart is here too.
I even called her Kmart on the title. For Christ's sake, wouldn't Jane Doe have been better than Kmart? Like, nope, that's legally her name now, Kmart.
Also, this is disgustingly white.
I know, right?
Oh god, it's Apple Tech.
The worst.
I want to bring out some paint so bad.
Also, Jova, they're the villain. Why would they use Apple Tech?
Exactly, Jova.
Kmart!
Yeah,
stop calling me Kmart!
Uh-oh. Someone was a bit too eager to get out of the capsule.
Oh boy.
Well, we did ask for more color.
It's so bizarre because now for shots like these, the desaturation gets, disappears for a bit just to showcase how much vibrant the blood is. Wow!
Gee.
I forgot about this. Also, I guess Alice is...
Wait, and now suddenly there's a blood trail?
Even though in the panning shot where it was not present.
Yeah, we just saw the whole room. Where was that?
Oh, look, a bunch of armed vehicles.
I remember this shot from
Welcome
Resident...
to the Umbrella Apple Store.
Hey, I remember this shot from Resident Evil 5, although it had more color in Resident Evil 5.
And And that's saying a lot considering the Resident Evil 5 had the primary color scheme more similar to the one of the previous movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't one of the criticisms of 5 its lack of color?
And yet it still has more color than
New
this.
The New Mexico yellow filter.
I mean, to give
Really,
that...
you might not like Max Payne 3 then.
To give Resident Evil 5 credit, it did have colors other than that. I get why people remember only mainly that, but it did have some other scenarios here and there that at least helped diversify.
Recall correctly, it's about to happen now. You're actually about to get one of the shot-for-shot, a scene that is a shot-for-shot recreation of a scene from Resident Evil 5, actually. I mean, almost literally.
I love how those doors fasten themselves in place, but then open up each time someone wants to walk through.
Why did you have to put even the zombies, you know, the corpses or zombies when you're studying, even in white robes? Why is everything have to be white inside this ship?
Because
Can you even imagine during the construction the painting job that had to happen?
So who is the bad guy in this game that seems to be heavily based off of Resident Evil 5? Why the bad guy of Resident Evil 5?
Wesker, but what didn't you die at the beginning of the movie? Wow, even Alice calls out how this is anticlimactic.
Wow, what'd she say?
Why am I not
Why am I not
surprised?
surprised? To be fair, this is peak Wesker, just fake your death, only to glow as soon as you emit your entrance later on.
It's like the movie itself is rolling its eyes at its own plot.
Oh, good boy.
Oh,
He can
see, they are
control
good.
them.
Oh, there's Kim Coates. I guess he was an agent of Wesker all the time.
What, you're not gonna have her stop his bullet with her face?
Or
Remember,
something.
she doesn't have her powers.
Yeah.
As if that would stop Paul.
And now I T-pose for dominance.
The sex better be fucking amazing, Paul. It better be.
Uh-oh. Okay, so here's the thing. Similar to the revelation in Resident Evil 5, while Wesker's T-virus infection does work out amazingly well for him, he needs a balance. However, in the game, he needed a special drug. In here, his plan...
To eat people.
So, remember how in the last film, Alice's blood was meant to be the cure? Well, now apparently consuming her flesh will supposedly help Wesker.
Great, this is the Ultimate Universe version of Resident Evil where major characters are fucking cannibals.
But you know what this means, Tio? The blood
the Jesus parallel is more apparent.
Yep, blood of Christ and the flesh of Christ. Oh!
Brrr. Ew, that was scratchy. Oh. Oh no. Please don't.
Still a good boy.
Yeah, just pet him.
I'd rather not. I get the idea, the definition of give one hand and we get until your elbow will be taken literally.
Oh, Vispit.
This shot for shot is, I don't know if even in the script, but
Wait, no.
shot for shot is a recreation of what happens in Resident Evil 5.
What do you mean they become an inconvenience to you? You don't know Chris in this version. See, that is legit a line he actually said to Chris and Sheva. And yes, this is a legit recreation of that scene from the game.
What Wesker is about to do. Watch this. He literally distracts them by tossing his glasses.
Like, kudos, yes, congrats. You managed to make an exact replica from the game, which is cool, but Wesker doesn't know Chris. Like, see, the thing is, up to that point, the rivalry between Chris and Albert Wesker had been building up to the point where they were absolute arch enemies. Here, Chris and Claire, you've become quite an inconvenience. No. One, he
You
doesn't
never
know.
interact with either until this point.
And two, what do you mean Claire's been an inconvenience? She's been working for you when she was mind-controlled. If anything, she's helped your plan. So,
Yeah.
again, they literally just threw in that line because, hey, Resident Evil 5, this'll...
Once again,
Yeah, but
similar
that's the
to
thing.
It's
Like the scene, like it's the same scene, but without any of the context from its original incarnation. It makes no sense.
Similar to the previous movie. It's just pointless fan
Oh my God.
service.
Oh my
Yes.
God, Shiro! I just realized. It's just like when Anuf and Eve did the slate breaking scene.
Huh.
Well, shoot.
There we go.
I mean, at least the dogs look good.
You have a
Yeah.
gun. Shoot the fucking glass.
Well, I don't think they look too good anymore, Shiro.
Can you stop with the money shots?
But don't you see, I guess Paul really wants to prove that apparently money is more powerful than bullets? And somehow she doesn't get scratched at all by that glass.
Of
Well,
course she doesn't.
Java, why would she?
Oh
No.
my god.
No! No!
What?
What?
She kicked a piece of glass into the dog, Shiro.
Oh.
Jump.
Oh my god, he
That
actually
hurt.
got to damage her.
Holy shit!
Oh.
Cover your mouth. It's rude.
Now, do you believe that she's amazing, Shiro? I mean,
No.
would a truly unamazing woman be able to do what she just did? I mean, come on. Come on.
Oh, hey, Kmart.
Okay, Martha. Oh my god, enough with the slow-mo tossing weapon scenes.
Now will this kill you? God, you're getting close to being more of a Gary Stu than I am.
Well,
Shoot him again.
okay, at least in Wesker's case, he's the bad guy, so that at least helps raise the stakes.
But here is a point to double tap him.
Yeah,
Yes.
just double check, for goodness sake.
Also-
Shoot him.
Also, how does the system already have pictures of Chris and Claire when they weren't even in the tubes before?
I guess it scans them automatically, like it's Pokemon the 7 movie.
This is like a hostage situation. Paul will not stop until we cave into his demands.
Oh my god, are you actually letting Chris and Claire have the final kills on Wesker?
Okay, calm down, Paul W. Sanderson, you're not Tarantino. Fuck.
Hey, maybe shoot him in the head more too, just saying.
To be fair, we're not sparing any expense in terms of bullets, so I appreciate that.
Okay.
And so they left him in the building to starve to death, Saw style.
Basically, game over.
Shut up. Thank you.
Okay then.
At least the dogs are fed.
Again, I'm just amazed they let Chris and Claire have the final kill on Wesker. Like, I mean, well, again, I wonder if this is more just Paul again going, hey guys, I played Resident Evil 5.
And there you go, Alice just fucks off with wannabe helicopters.
Actually,
Actually,
no,
no,
she
she's
wasn't.
My bad.
Oh, Wesker
Actually, no,
was?
it was Wesker.
How?
Yeah, I
When
forgot
did he
that-
get out?
I did say to shoot him again.
I guess it wasn't enough, right?
I guess we have...
Purge facility.
Oh,
okay,
right,
I
blow
know
it
we
up.
speak Umbrella, but having each facility having a self-destruct sequence feels really deleterious at this point.
Hey, wait a minute. The thought occurs, Wesker. If you needed to consume the flesh of Alice, why didn't you just go for one of her many clones? In fact,
Maybe it's not the same.
shoot, now that I think about it,
Uh-oh.
oopsie! Pulled a little switcheroo. All that was missing was for him to hold up a sign that said, "Oh no."
Ouch. We did it. We saved the world. Seriously, this looks like one of the last shots of Birdemic.
So, yeah. There's Wesker dealt with. Oh, look at that! Luthor's okay!
Or maybe not. Or maybe yes.
I'm a basketball player!
Seriously, that's his entire character. I do basketball things.
You know, the thought occurs, the fact that all the Alice clones had Alice's powers means that the clones were a success, so why was Umbrella testing and killing them at the start of the third movie?
Oh.
That's another thing about this film series. It makes less sense the further you go down.
They won't. And by the way, if I remember correctly, that's the last that you see of Kmart, because she doesn't show up in the following movies.
Ooh, I'm so glad
She does survive, but she just ends there on this fucking boat.
There is hope indeed, guys.
I don't remember if Luthor comes back in the other two movies.
Uh-oh, but
And
Umbrella's
there are
coming.
Umbrella agents.
But wait, hold on. If Wesker's taken care of, who's in charge of them this time?
Okay, yeah, Luthor shows up in the following movie.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Why do we have a song now?
I don't know.
Because the movie's ending.
Why wouldn't you want a song?
That's the thing. The first Revelation showcased how great it is to create the Resident Evil environment on a boat.
Yeah, it was
Zenobia.
really well done. But wait, hold on. There will actually be a scene later. Hey, if you only have watched the movies, you may not recognize who this character is, but that is actually Jill.
With her own parasite possessing her, with a jumpsuit from Resident Evil 5.
Except originally her cleavage and the mind control device was covered to not make it obvious she was being controlled. But in here we can afford to make her look even more sexy. But yes, they even got back Sienna to play Jill Valentine. However, again, if you're a movies-only fan, you might not know this because she doesn't look anything like she did in Resident Evil Apocalypse.
I don't even remember if this actually amounts to that much in the following movie, because it seems to be a trend that the following movie basically retcons whatever is setting up the previous one.
She will be back in Retribution.
Alright, our thoughts, Lives.
I mean, the music's just kind of there. The most fun I had watching it were those really silly moments like the glass kicking and the Albert Wesking and the
money
gun
shots
shooting and the money shooting. Yeah, anything I could describe with ing at the end are the best part of it. But other than that, it just kind of came and went for me, in my opinion. Not much there, and I'll be honest, I seriously think they misspent that $60 million.
Mm-hmm.
It's more expensive than the last movie, and it looks worse. Where did that money go? Did that go towards him and Miller's wedding?
I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, it'd be amazing if a movie production could fund my wedding. Literally, as we're filming, but I don't think that's a good use of resources.
Imagine.
But
So it's like Rob Reiner used North to fund his vacation all over the world.
yeah, how many movies have we got left?
2. Oh, by the way,
Two down, 2 to go.
a fun
That's
fact
not
about
so
this
far.
movie. Get this. Originally, this movie was not supposed to exist. Producer Jeremy Bolt had stated that there was no intention of making a 4th film, despite the obvious cliffhanger that the 3rd movie ends on. But because the 3rd film had done particularly well and Paul W. Sanderson was talking with Sony about the possibility, negotiations went underway with Sony for creating the film, and well, yeah, the rest is history. So the film series was supposed to end with the 3rd film, but because Sony couldn't leave well enough alone, it continued for 3 more movies.
Well, if these films keep making money, you can blame economics for that one, Jeremy.
Again, I do wonder if it was mainly, a lot of casuals coming to see the movies due to zombie craze. That's like
It's possible
the most logical
because
one.
something similar to that happened with around this time with the World War Z movie. Because it was
Yeah.
about zombies and it starred Brad Pitt.
Like, if you just want zombies and action, yeah, these movies provide that, I guess.
There's better ones that do that as well, I think.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm done.
Shiroi.
Honestly, that was a little better.
If only because there's actually a plot to follow through.
Yeah, it definitely kept my attention more than the last movie because that was a snooze fest and I'm not getting that time back. But it's still not great. Like, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. At times it was decent, but I don't know. I really don't have much to say about this at all. Yeah, it was better. But the bar was already, kind of low, so...
I noticed you're not talking about how amazing Mila Jovovich is.
Uh-oh,
I'm sorry, what? Could you repeat that? I didn't hear.
I noticed that you're not talking about how amazing Mila Jovovich is.
So we're gonna have to ramp it up. We're gonna
I
have
think, Shiroi, there's sort of a buzzing in the communication.
Yeah, like, I feel like you need to, like, reset Pedro or something.
Well, you see, Shirei, we'll just have to ramp it up in the next movie.
Alright, who's next? I'm out. Bye.
Pedro.
Okay, this one is, I guess, better. Of course, being better than Resident Evil Extinction is not at all a feat worthy of praise. It's still insane, it's still terrible, it's still nonsensical. There's still a lot of pandering to... There's still a lot of waifu pandering. And again, this is not Resident Evil. I'm just so tired of these movies at this point.
I'm actually curious at this point, Pedro. Would you take Resident Evil 6 over these?
I guess I'll still take 6, because at the very least, in Leon's campaign, there's a cemetery segment, for fuck's sake, at least.
I guess.
And also, his partner is played by Laura Bailey. That has to count for something.
There's that. There is that. see, here's the you see, Paul. Here's the thing. I don't go shoving Laura Bailey roles in games. See,
just because you can.
Just because I can, Yeah. Not great. And I'm tired of this. And the fact that we still have 2 more of these movies to go through is a nightmare. Like...
Well, I guess it does fit the spirit of Halloween.
Yes!
This is the longest dentist appointment I ever had to go through.
So would you call it the long Halloween?
We did that a few years ago, Jova.
Yeah. No, like I said, this is by far the longest dental appointment I've ever had, and god damn it, I just want to get out. I want out. I want out. I'm out. Go on.
Alright, I'll go next. Okay, I'm almost tempted to say that to me this is worse than the previous movie.
I would
Because
understand.
That's conflicting because there are so many things that are better than the previous movie, like the color palette, a bit more action, moving from location to location sometimes, but at the same time, we squandered everything that the previous movie has set up, the army of clones of Alice, the facility in Tokyo, Wesker as the main villain, from the first part, and instead Paul W. Sanderson thought it was a better idea to confine Alice, and a bunch of other characters, including one that pretends to be Chris, inside a fucking prison. And I think I know the answer, because I think around this time, The Walking Dead Season 3 was actually being released, which is set inside a prison. So something tells me that Paul was a bit jealous or wanted to ride the tide. Because holy shit, again, they spend so much in one location. Chris is not really Chris as a character. There is no chemistry between him and Wesker. So everything cool about Wesker is completely wasted, and he's gonna show up anyway. Like, it's not even too much of a twist, because it's Wesker. He really, truly never dies. In 5, we took, plunging him into a volcano to kill him, and he still came back if Umbrella Corps is anything to go by. So there is that.
As far as we know, he is dead since he got beheaded by that rocket launcher. Like, there haven't...
The data logs and audio logs of Umbrella Corps confirm that he is alive again. But so far he's still doing whatever.
I'm not quite sure if that's canon, though.
It is.
Oh.
Yeah. Only Operation Raccoon City is not really canon, as far as I know. Anyway. And by the way, this is also the stopping point in terms of continuity for a bunch of other characters. Like I said, Kmart is nowhere to be seen in the following movies. Claire will show up in the final chapter, yes. Chris, no. So we literally have one of the major characters of the entire franchise just for one movie, for a very secondary role, and then we completely drop him like that, because God, I need to show how cool Alice is, I guess.
Good lord.
Well, of course you have to. Of course, we can't have. We can't just not have that.
Again with the parallels. Imagine a Final Fantasy VII movie with Bob, the sexy protagonist, and where Cloud just shows up for one occasion. He's like, "Hi, I'm here, bye," and he doesn't even swing his Buster Sword or something. That's how it feels like. It's insane. Right? Why did anyone thought it was a good idea? Why did Capcom care about greenlighting this? Did they just care about the money recouping?
Probably.
But you sure like getting a lot of Monica Bellucci in your movies.
Not really, nor do I actually advocate for her to be an action heroine. So,
given this was Capcom in 2010, I could see them being more concerned with the fact that the movies were making money. Although, part of me does wonder, while yes, the movies were profits, they were consistently getting around $300-something million. Now, that's not inherently something to scoff at, but do you think maybe at some point they realized, hey, these movies aren't really making much beyond that, and that's why they eventually canned them, despite them?
It's also the time discrepancy. If I recall correctly, because I was wrong in the previous movie, this one was done in 2010. The next one took 2 years to make, but then they waited 4 years before doing the final chapter. And I remember correctly, because I was, caring more about checking news on the internet, that people weren't even sure a final movie was going to happen or not.
Like, so from what I can understand,
I get the idea that the studios sit around waiting the idea for a while.
From what I can gather, it seems like despite the movies being profits, the studios releasing them weren't exactly that proud of them.
It's like you said, Jova, I get the idea that they pondered for a while if they wanted to just push the reboot button, which they eventually did after the final chapter. Because, okay, I'm tempted to say this, but it's like kind of a spoiler, but when it ends very relatively conclusively, there's still some kind of a sequel bait at the end of the final chapter, believe it or not.
Oh god.
And yet they knew that it was the final movie. So, yeah, you will be able to see for yourself in a few days. My point is, this still sucks. I will say this to answer the question that I posed yesterday. No, I think this has a more of a complex story that uniting Extinction with this one would have not made just one complete movie. It would have been too big, for two stories to be combined, even trimming away the fat. So it's just a matter of Extinction was too diluted, while this one instead was much better in terms of, despite the fact that it was still stretched. So, oof. This is still a mess, and I still apply on the idea that these movies are getting worse with each one passing by, which is a crying shame.
I'm gonna have to agree with Tio, but for me it's a bit... Okay, this is a bit like comparing Superman 4 to Superman 3. Like with those cases, I do feel like Resident Evil 4 Afterlife is technically worse than Resident Evil 3 Extinction. That said, I'd probably rewatch Afterlife before Extinction because Extinction was just the ultimate bore fest, whereas Afterlife does have more entertaining stuff. And they also get and they actually get Wesker more right in this film. However, the problems. One, they essentially just made Chris Redfield an XP of Wentworth Miller's character from the Prison Break series.
Basically.
2, the scenery is not exactly much to write about. It's either dull grays or dull, endless white. And 3, it has good ideas like Tio mentioned, but they're constantly squandered by the bad. Also, what the hell was up with the money shot in this one?
Multiple money shots, including the one where Alice steals from Claire.
By this movie's logic, supposedly loading your guns with coins is more effective than actual bullets. Because Claire's...
Well, Jova, Professor Light in the Lost Future already taught me that, so it must be true.
Well, okay, the thing is... Actually, no, because those coins didn't kill the guys. They just really hurt them. Whereas in here, a headshot with a bullet only stuns an executioner, but a headshot with a money shot, that makes the executioner's head blow up. What? Okay, maybe in a video game where it's a joke item that is surprisingly overpowered, but no. The thing is...
So what you're telling me, Joe, is that the heroine of this movie is literally throwing money at her problems.
Yes. Which could be an apt metaphor for... Again, I wonder if Paul and Milla make these movies whenever they're having an argument just to settle things and remind each other that they love each other very, very much.
So these movies are actually their equivalent of public sex.
Oh my god.
Sure, why not? Look, if you want a product...
No, actually, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
If you want a product where people are shooting a lot and coins are using some kind of fashion, play Ultra Kill. It's much better than watching these.
I mean, and the thing is, the plot inconsistencies keep piling up, contradicting or pretty much wiping right from the board stuff that was set up in Extinction or previous movies before. And it just keeps getting dumber and dumber. And yes, now Alice is, despite being depowered, apparently now Jesus, since supposedly Wesker consuming her DNA would help him bounce out the code even though she's been depowered. Also, somehow a depowered Alice is more effective against Wesker than a fully powered Alice. What?
'Cause why not?
It just doesn't make sense. I mean, and I guess, to give Paul credit, I guess Chris and Claire are the ones who get to put the final bullets in Wesker. Although even still, Alice is the one who gets the final laugh by literally Looney Tunes swapping a bomb onto her ship. once again, the plot tones are very inconsistent. Like, it acts serious, but then has this over-the-top goofy stuff, and not in, like, the good cheesy way like the games. It's more like, you can definitely tell it's unintentional in that regard. But hey, and once again, so now that we've solved the Arcadia plot, we're thinking, oh, there's hope, but then nope, here's the next big challenge.
But the big tease is that Jill Valentine is back. You can definitely tell that around this time they were starting to catch up with the teasing via post-credit scene that the MCU was starting to popularize, and they wanted to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, and oh dear lord, Retribution will have the biggest tease. But for now, let us just look forward to actually dealing with Retribution, because, oh boy, if you thought Afterlife was bad, if you thought Afterlife was stupid, if you thought Afterlife was constantly teasing games fans with obvious references to the games, Retribution's about to go hold my beer at that. All of it.
Goody. Yeah.
See you for that next time.
See ya.